What is up, guys? Welcome to another FBA happy hour. We got Drew FBA in the house. Thanks for being here. Let us know what questions you have. What's going on, man?
Nothing too much. It's been a while, it feels like.
I know it's been like forever. It feels like we were like going almost like every 3 episodes or whatever. And now it's just like boom.
This is the OG gang. Like this is the OG guest.
Yeah, it was like the funniest thing because everyone's like, is this a podcast? And it's like, is Drew part of the crew? Because like you're on like the first like two, like probably the first 6 or something. You were on like twice. And I was like, I don't know. Like we're just kind of hanging out on YouTube.
Yeah, people will call me or like message me or whatever and be like, "Oh, you're like really good friends with them." I'm like, "No, I'm just a guest on there, really." But I guess I talk to them pretty frequently, considering it's like
we do text like pretty often. So I mean, like makes sense. What's going on? So for everyone who doesn't know who you are, you want to give them a little background?
Yep. Been selling on Amazon for about 3.5, 4 years now. I'm paced to do like 2.5 mil this year. I know about everything I go on. I give a different number for what I'm going to do this year. And that's because my mind changes a lot on what I'm going to do. So if I want to do 3 mil this year, I guess I could, but I don't really want to that bad. So it'll probably be in the 2 to 2.5 range. Aside from that, I don't know. That's about it. Not too complicated.
People should know him by now. He's only been here like 20 times.
That is true.
He's only the most frequent guest.
Yeah, but you're always gonna get like that person who's like, "Oh, who is that?" or whatever. So
yeah, we gotta cover all the bases here. You know, we gotta make sure everybody knows.
Yeah, I need to have a memorized story that I start any of these things with that I just like spit out, because I keep thinking I'm like, well, all the same people watch the same type of content, but you never know when there's like a new person that might relate. So
yeah, true.
I'll get it next time.
Yeah, no. If you guys put your questions in the chat, probably everyone usually
Let's talk about Twitter beef. What's wrong?
I haven't really been on Twitter that much. I actually tried to scroll real quick before. So what's the Twitter beef?
I don't know. There's just a lot of beef going around. Like I don't know. Like it's just like.
Well, the big one was Arbitrage Ops and that kid, right? I don't know the kid. I have him I didn't blocked. I didn't know who he was, but then I saw the beef or whatever, so I like had to unblock him to see. So I don't know, but I mean that tells you one thing about the Arbitrage Ops stuff, because I'm a huge fan of Arbitrage Ops, as everybody knows. That's like one of the only people I put my name behind in general. So I don't know what they were fighting about. I guess that the kid was making fun of him for not being big enough, and the Arbitrage Ops was making fun of him for ripping all of his tweets.
Yeah, it was just
was that the kid who quit college or no? I saw that thing like blew up. Did you see that? I think you retweeted it.
Yeah, I thought, man, and then Arizi came at me, and I was like, man, I'm not trying to make fun of the kid. I was like, I just learned that from that Prime kid that I made fun of him, the one that lied about the shipping labels. I realized that I gave him, because every time that I see some beef, I watch people's followers, because that's why they're doing it, is for engagement. So I watched the people's followers climb up, and that kid had 120 followers when he tweeted that. And then I bet now he's over 600. Like he 4 or 5x his following because everybody started making fun of him. So I just tweeted the reality. I was like, this kid is going to get all these followers that are like him, kids in college that might want to drop out or have dropped out. And you guys are making fun of him. But really what it's doing is just growing his following. So if you think the kid's an idiot, it's better to ignore him. And he can just launch a little course or a little group off that and probably make like a few grand a month off that for kids that want to drop out of college. So it's like you guys just made him a bunch of money for being mean to him, which is not what I was even trying to do. But if you guys were like, why are you hating on the kid? Like, obviously I'm not hating on the kid. Get his bag. I don't care.
Yeah, I think that, it's just interesting too. It's just I feel like how it was even written, it was just I decided to quit. I picked up a bunch of Nike shoes. It wasn't everyone should quit. You all suckers and all this kind of stuff. It was just this is what I'm doing. And everyone just
wrong with it. I think it was just on him for no reason.
The reason that he got hate because he did the math wrong. And they're oh, maybe he should have stuck in college. And he did do the math horribly wrong, which was funny. But But I'll find that's probably a strategy. If I was that kid, I would lean into that so hard. I would just do the math wrong on everything and just keep doing that. Because if you keep getting hate, I mean, he's going to blow his Twitter up like that. And I used to hate that beef stuff, but the more I understand how all this social media stuff works, it's like, man, hate on anybody, like whatever. Like, just try to get involved in the conversation, and you're going to get followers, and you're going to make money if that's your goal.
Yeah, I feel like that's the only way you can do it is like you create beef or like say something dumb. Like you basically just have to trigger someone. It's no more like you can't really be like almost like nice anymore. Be like, oh, good job on 2 million, Drew. Well, maybe that would work. And they'd be like, he didn't really do 2 million. It's like, oh, he's probably sending fake. Like, there's all this stuff, and it just like snowballs into something like insane.
Yeah, because Twitter's different because it's a conversation, which I've been paying so much attention to social media stuff. It's a conversation, so it's like if you can give people massive value, then they're going to conversate with you. Or if you're going to start beef or start some kind of controversy, then they're going to have a conversation. But if you're just like tweeting platitudes and stuff, it's tough because no one's really having a conversation with you there. But I get it. I kind of get it more now. So I don't hate on the beef as much or the gurus. Kind of just it all is just the market. It's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of took Drew's approach and started muting people. And it's become like a little annoying because it's like when there is like a chain of beef and it's like, oh, you muted this person, you can't. And I'm like, oh, let me see what they said. I was like, yeah, that's why they're muted. Like that was a stupid point.
That John guy was beefing with some kid too.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
What was that about?
Oh, that kid was just like making fun of his wife or something. I don't know. That was a rough one.
It was something stupid, and it just kept going. It's like, what's going on?
Oh my god.
He's an interesting guy too, John.
Yeah, I saw one earlier when I was scrolling, and the person was just like, I think I don't even know what their handle was. It was like Savage something, and they were just basically like, oh, like I don't understand this FBA thing. Like everything I buy tanks and I can't find anything. And someone's like, you might want to change your handle to like FBA puppy or something like that. And they're just like hating on them because like it's like, bro, like you just gotta dig harder. Like this is like just how it is kind of deal.
Yeah, there's a lot of beef going on right now. It must be because the holidays, people are just getting real.
Well,
I think it kind of like settled down a little and like
it did, and then it just blew up
like,
again. It was like
trying to bring back the beef.
It just blew up.
The FBA space is just big now. I feel like it's like really grown a ton. A lot of people are on there. So you got to think you're like fighting for a limited amount of attention when it comes to that. If you're not like trying to reach new audiences, which obviously there's guys that do that kind of thing, but like people like DrewFBA, you know, it's not like somebody random is probably going to follow me. You know, I'm trying to take audience from the people in the thing. So I guess that's what those people think too. You know, you're just trying to take other people's people, I guess.
What do we got here?
Who's what's out there?
An FBA buyer trying to hold you hostage. Oh, the color doesn't look like the picture. It's the brand's listing, buddy. Rectify this or I'll leave a bad review. They want more than a refund. I don't think you could give more than a refund. My policy with that stuff is I just give a refund. I don't want bad feedback, and usually
if it's FBA, I don't really care, honestly. I'll just strike it out.
Yeah, true. I think that's actually against now that I think about it, I think that's against the Amazon policy. So like if you screenshot that and send it to Amazon,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
pretty
if they
sure.
threaten you if you don't do something, like they automatically will lose. But like in all these kind of things, I like to think about like is it like really worth the time to like kind of fight this person, or like if they're just gonna go away because you have to give them $20 or $30, like sometimes it's just worth it and just like move on.
The time with FBM, I'm just like, you know what?
Like you win, congratulations.
It's like FBM, it's hard to get rid of those, so it's like, here you go. Like sometimes I'll like, so if it's like, hey, I didn't receive this item or whatever, then I'll go through my spiel of like trying to weed out the scammers. And then after that, if they keep persisting, then I will be like, okay, you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
I just don't automatically give people refunds. I'm like, you're gonna have to like pass some of the test here before I just give you the money.
Yeah, it depends on what they say.
Yeah.
How do you handle it,
Broken. I
Drew?
mean,
I don't really pay too much to that. I'm like you. I just kind of let it go. If it's higher priced with FBM, I'll sometimes do a restocking fee if I can catch it in time. But
Mhm.
where now I have a prep center set up that catches all my returns and all my inventory like that, so it's difficult for me to even be very hands on with it, like because they're the ones doing it. So that makes it tough.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Do you use
I
a
mean,
service like an actual prep center or somebody you know?
It's an actual prep center. Obviously I can't give it. I don't want to
No,
give.
I know. I was going to ask you about later.
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
do it later for sure. I think I've told you, John, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm using them as well.
Oh
I
yeah.
have like kind of mixed feelings about it. It's like I guess part of it's like my fault. I need to stay more on top of it. But like they're just listing stuff that's like not worth anything.
Mm,
I'd rather them just like try to send it in. And like Soros was on here, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and he was like, "You got," because he's like, "You can't pay by the listing because like
no.
they're incentivized to list like as much stuff as possible." That was just his opinion. Like you're doing more apparel and stuff like that, so it's not as bad. But like I got all this stuff like recalled that was like I don't know, they listed it for like $20 and it was like free shipping. Like I lost so much money. And the eBay buyer, like a I don't know, 18.99 eBay buyer is like a nightmare. Like I ended up refunding so much of it, like million questions. I'm just like, oh my god,
eBay's another beast.
not
People
worth
try to
it.
be like, oh, like, no. You don't know how easy it is to sell on, like, not easy, but like less hassle it is to sell on Amazon compared to eBay because like you literally wear every single hat. Like if the customer wants to try to like negotiate the price, then you'll get people saying like, I'll give you $5 for this, and it's like $20. Then you have to do the shipping, you have to do the photos, you have to do the listing itself and the description and all these things. And it's like it's so much more than just
Yeah,
sitting in
at the level that like I have a lot of listings on eBay at this point from that prep center. I think I hired a VA and just have them working on it like part time is probably what I should do. Like
Mhm.
putting promoted listings on, negotiating offers, really, because I'm not trying to optimize how much money I get back. I'm just trying to
Yeah,
get
me
money
either.
back. Like I just
Mhm.
want to get any amount of money. And if I can recover 20, 30, 40% of my buy costs, like that's cool with me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it too. And one thing that's like really making me angry is Amazon is like shipping out a lot of stuff like with the shipping label on the box.
Hmm.
So like the customer is like ripping off the shipping label and returning it, therefore damaging the box. And now like they're just taking like a loose picture on eBay and it looks like crap. And it's like, I mean, what are you gonna do? It just happens, but it's all part of the game. It's just like I think like at the volume that I'm at now, it's like getting bigger, and it's like, damn, like, it's a lot. It's a
What,
lot
what
of
does Soros,
returns.
what does Soros do?
Well, he had a friend who was
Mhm.
doing it, and they were working on commission. So like he'd be like, "Hey, like I'll give you I don't know 30% or whatever it was," and then like it's up that person. Like, I mean, I think that would be like a good deal because like I know a little bit. I mean, obviously, I sold like 100 grand on eBay when I was doing books. So, like, if you kind of get the hang of it and like you really research and get the process down, like, you could really make some good money because like you have no cost. It's just your time. So, like, if you could just be more efficient or like figure out ways to like unload it on Facebook Marketplace or whatever you're gonna do, like, you can make a good bit of money. Especially, I mean, you said you had like 80 grand worth of stuff in like a storage unit. I mean, like geez, like if you get 10% of that, that's 8 grand, right?
Yep.
Like, so I mean, that could be like super lucrative for like one person. And then now he's using a prep center too, but I don't think they're charging him or something because he's giving them like his bigger wholesale orders.
Oh yeah, something like
Because
that.
it's easier for them to prep like a wholesale order.
Yeah, if he'll send like his wholesale orders to them, then they will do that in return. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's pretty lucrative situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't say it was free, but like it was kind of alluded to that. Where
Yeah,
they have
like
a really good deal
there's
where
some kind of
it just makes a ton of sense. But yeah, it got me thinking because then like after this, he's just like, dude, you just gotta like negotiate with these people. Like, be like, yo, if you do this for me, like I'll send you like my wholesale order. Hey, like I have a following, like I'll send you like people for prep or something, like stuff like that. And he's like, you'd be surprised, like what you'd be able to negotiate.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. I have a plan to hire a friend. I have some friends moving to where I'm like at now, and I want to hire one and give him 20 to 30% commission. Just say, get rid of this inventory however you want, but the more money you get, the more money you get for it. So like, I hope that works out, and he can probably end up doing it pretty full time. You know, if I have 80 grand, he can get back 20, 25 grand. I mean, that's like pretty easy job for like, they probably live off that for a while.
Yeah, because like the thing with eBay too, like all the work is like in taking the photos, making the listing. Like once that stuff's done, like I don't know, maybe you're shipping out like 5 or 10 things a day. If you sell all shoes, right? Like the key with eBay is like to get like standard boxes or like poly mailers. This way, like you only have like between 3 and 5. And like you just eat the cost. Like if the box is too big, you just put paper in it. Like it doesn't make sense to have like 10 different boxes. That's what I did anyway. And I was like, all right, like either goes in one of these 5 things and like just gonna make the best of the situation.
I'll have to tell him that. I'll have to remember to say that kind of stuff. Like if I just got a certain amount of boxes and just, you know, because you can get like an eBay, like listed on eBay and have one of those cross listers that does like Facebook and then Depop or whatever all that stuff is. And then as it goes, it just like racks it up. So yeah, Facebook Marketplace too. Like getting the cash in person. That's obviously nice.
Yeah, there are actually some really good softwares when I was using it. I don't remember what their name was, but like literally you just like check boxes and it just puts it there. The only catch is you have to like delete them. So like if it sells on eBay, you have to remember to delete it from like Facebook and wherever else you decide to list it. I mean, Facebook Marketplace isn't a big deal because it's like whatever. You just like, yeah, sorry, I sold it, but yeah, if you sell it on Facebook and then you don't have it for eBay, like that could create a problem.
I hate selling on Facebook though.
I love Facebook Marketplace. I think
you
it's
love
like
Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, it's so easy. Well, I guess that's because how I started though too. Like I started flipping furniture on there.
I started from Facebook too, but I still hate it.
I don't know. I feel it's just easy because it's like, for me, it's like I am here pretty much all day, and it's like if you want to come, great. If you don't come, that's great too. Because I'm just gonna stay here and work. Like I don't care. And at like this point, like I'm not worried about like I don't know if someone really wants to come and like hold me at gunpoint for like an Amazon return, like I guess I'm willing to take that risk. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't just see it as risky, I guess.
Yeah, you just gotta like filter out your buy. I would always just pay attention because I was selling like expensive stuff on Facebook, like $400 Nintendo Switches, and like I've sold a $1,200 pool on there. So it's like I don't know. I would always be really
potato. Thank you, potato. I love that. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Me too. T-Pacer is still here. Is available in my dreams. Yeah, like a lot of people do say that. Yeah, I think it's also really dependent on like the area you're in. Like, because like some areas are just like crappy and like bad. Like my furniture business wouldn't have worked in like certain parts of PA because the market's just not there. It's just like the inventory is not there. The people who want to buy it aren't there. So it really depends on like where you are. But if you live in like a decent place, like you should be all right.
So you had to what? Actually, this will make for you a good clip. So I'll ask this: well, if you had to restart and you had like $0 and you had to do that furniture thing, how much money do you think you could make a day? And then what would it take to do that, or how like feasible is it?
Oh, dude, I think about this all the time. Because I was probably making. I was only doing it on the weekends. It was like probably $2,000 a month. If I was and I was working a full-time job, like picking stuff up after work. It isn't all like cash. Like for example, if you like, I'd pay $100 for a table, and then you get like $250 for the table, like 2 days later. So like you could like turn like $1,000 into 10. Like if I was doing it full time, like so quick. I bet you I could do it within 2 months. I'd be able to like roll up $10,000.
Dude, YouTube series, that would be amazing. Yeah.
And I do think about it all the time because like people are always moving and it's like you're almost doing them more of a service by like
Mhm.
taking stuff away. Like there was stuff we have and like I sold on Facebook Marketplace. Like there's no time. Like I run the Amazon business. Like I do like I have all this other stuff going on, and it's just like to list like 30 things for $20, right? And like coordinate all that, it just wasn't worth it.
I guess if you kept your price point above $100, so you, like say like minimum on a sale you make $50. So 6 sales a day, you're making $100,000 a year at minimum $50. You're trying to make way over, obviously. So like if you try to do $300 a day, I think it wouldn't be that difficult because you're gonna have some stuff that would make you like $500. So then the next day you're only trying to get like $100 of profit or whatever.
Yeah, that would be like so doable. You have to maybe sell like 2 or 3 pieces of furniture a day. The issue would become space.
Yeah.
So like the key to the furniture thing, or what I thought was the key, is like when you take the pictures. So you have to have it like you can't do it in a storage unit because it looks like crap, and people are like, this is like probably like it was like basically I did everything like for the tables. Like they're actually in like my dining room. So I like just set it up, stage it, like take a picture. I like the whole thing down, take the legs off, like take all the bolts, like Ziploc bag, tape it to the bottom of the table. So like everything was there. And then it was just like, I just had this like rhythm down. And then like you just stack them all up and like stack the chairs up. And then you just kind of put it in the corner. And like I just have the sequence. It sounds like a lot. It probably only took like maybe 10, 15 minutes a thing to do. But you're also making like $150 to $150 per transaction for, all right, maybe let's call it a half hour by the time you post on all the different apps. But even so, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you combine
returns. Like they come and get it, and that's it.
Combine that with like sourcing them off Craigslist, and then you could probably even find under like the keep a deals thing, like furniture that goes on sale, like, and then you could just put that furniture together. Now it's like a brand new item on Amazon, but you just put it on Facebook. It's like a whole different way you market it. Just say something about it, and then yeah, I think it's pretty lucrative. I think you should start a little YouTube series. See how fast you can get
about
to
it.
profit.
I definitely have more space down here. Like I feel like I could set up like a little spot over here, like just put like a carpet down, and then kind of just like piece out the stuff. But you'd be shocked too. Like I feel like now more than ever, I mean, during COVID, I feel like, oh my God, you could have made so much money because people are going out of business. Like I remember I got like for $500, I got like I think 10 like sets of tables and chairs because like some church like went out of business. But like I turned that into like I don't know, like $5 or $6 grand or something crazy like that. And it was like I had to rent a van, like drive an hour, but like it really wasn't that bad for $5 grand at the end of the day. Like it was a steal. It's really just the storing of the stuff that's hard, and sometimes getting inventory. But
yeah, I think it's cool.
People who buy on Facebook Marketplace are cheapskates, the poorest of the penny pinchers. You don't to sell your stuff to them. I don't know. Like, I kind of disagree with that. Like, from my experience, I feel like people on Facebook Marketplace like spend good money. I feel like I would sell like between $200 and $400 tables and chairs. That like some of the tables that I was selling, like I learned later on, were like $40 at Walmart, and I was selling them for $100. Like I had no idea. Like I was just buying them on Marketplace and like flipping them. So I was like, I don't know. I think like for me, or maybe it's just my area. Like I just don't have that issue. But
I lived in like one of the poorest counties in all of the United States and sold over 150 grand on Facebook Marketplace in 8 months in 2020 between PlayStation 5s, Xboxes, Nintendo and polls. I sold over 150 PlayStations and Xboxes, and one of those sold for $1,200. And I live in like literally one of the poorest counties in the country. So that was I thought that you obviously have bad customers on any marketplace, but there is money. If I could do that where I lived, I mean, you could make so much money doing the Facebook Marketplace, like arbitrage type stuff. Because people, the thing is, you do have people that are like the poorest of penny pinchers, but you also have just a lower awareness customer base. You have like the lowest of the low that are aware of prices. So you're like literally selling to boomers. So you could probably buy stuff from Amazon for $30. That's retail $30 and just sell it for 60 on Facebook Marketplace. If you just put the pictures right, captioned it correctly, like you can, I guess, deceptive to an extent, but I mean, what's it matter? Like they're just selling to boomers. Like they don't know.
Yeah, I bought actually an item that I went to sell on Amazon, and then it turned out to be hazmat. It was just a whole disaster. I lost so much money, but like 3 of them got returned because people are like, "Oh, it's damaged or the box dented or whatever." So somehow they came back to me. I sold them for more than I paid for them, and like I would have made more money if I just flipped them locally. I did think about like kind of going in on some of that Halloween stuff, but I was like, I don't know if I really want to sit on that stuff because it is like pretty big. So I'm like, I'll just pass on that. But
oh yeah, that big skeleton thing.
Yeah,
that's like the go-to for everybody. But man, that thing is huge. Like I think you have to ship that freight, but locally you can do it. It's just
huge.
It's really big.
I actually was driving and saw one up. I'm like, nah. Like, I can't even imagine what box that comes in. Like, forget it. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, just not doing it. What's going on, Avery?
Avery.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if you guys have questions, drop them in the chat. Yeah, I always think about Facebook Marketplace, though. I just like kind of like the quickness of it. And it's just like fast, and I don't know. I actually considered doing that and like doing content on it, like almost trying to sell all my returns on Facebook Marketplace and kind of see what I could get. The only issue is with that is like kind of like the testing. Like I wouldn't want to have to like test everything. Most of the stuff I'm buying, like you're not really like testing.
I just think it'd be dope if you did like a 15 to 20 minute video, started at a certain amount of money, like a $200 or $300, and like put a game plan out to get to whatever it is in a certain amount of time. Like I guarantee that would go like relatively viral. I think that you get so many new viewers watching that because everybody wants to know how they can start with nothing and make money, and that is one of the most like easy ways to do it. If you just have a little bit of brain and like legwork, you can do it.
Yeah, I agree. There's this guy, I actually spoke at like one of their virtual events. He's called like the Flea Market Flipper, I think, on Instagram. This guy is like crazy. Like he goes and like he buys like this crazy stuff. Like he bought like this like car wash like brush that like turns in the thing for like $700, and he sold it on eBay for like $7,000. And then he shows you how he like builds the pallet and like ships it. It's like really good content. How's Walmart going, Michaela? Oh yeah, I saw that.
I haven't seen anything yet.
You put it on your story.
Yeah, I've been busy. I haven't really done much. I got to do obviously a lot of learning on Walmart before I.
What made you like sign up?
Because Jamar.
Okay.
Jamar and another guy I know, Matt. They opened accounts, and actually I know a few people that from Amazon that have Walmart accounts. And I have some stuff left over at my house that just doesn't sell that well on Amazon anymore. So, or like the listings were removed and there's no, a bunch of crap. You know how Amazon is. But I thought, why not try it on Walmart, because I look on there and there's hardly any competition on some of the stuff that I'm selling right now on Amazon.
I think that's the next big idea, like the next.
Still in baby stages, but
you could be the Walmart guru, Michaela.
I bet the gold rush on that is going to be big. Whoever comes in and starts making lots of content on that is going to make a lot of money.
I don't think there's any content. Like I haven't looked specifically, but like I feel like I get targeted for a lot of Amazon stuff. I haven't really seen any. You would think they would be like trying to target Amazon people with that kind of stuff, but
I'm hoping Jamar does. He just did 100K in revenue.
He is really on top of that.
Yeah, like he's doing.
Are you interested in Walmart too?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
No. I wasn't either until things happened.
I think like once you kind of see like it's definitely interesting. I have to say, like, I almost prefer buying from Walmart over Amazon. I think just because it's like closer to me. I get everything like within a day. Half the
Okay.
time it comes like same day.
I'll
And
have a look.
Amazon Prime is like could be like 4 days, like depending on the situation. But like I think it's just because they have the stores everywhere. Drew the Goat. Remember my name, David Tapia.
Is that what RMM means?
I think.
I have no idea. I don't know the kid slang anymore.
I appreciate that, David. I will remember your name.
Did any of you get auto enrolled in multiple destinations program? I haven't had a split shipment in 2 years until today. Opting out that doesn't work. I don't know. I'd have to check.
I haven't heard about that either.
I
I
feel
remember
like
it was all back.
I feel like they always like send out these emails in like little bunches. Like not everyone gets it all at the same time.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see it yet.
Also, I don't know. I'm sure most people know about this, but I'm pretty sure when you're making your shipments, if you stick to stuff over 18 units of each thing, it'll push it all in the same shipment. I think that's the number. But I'm sure if you've been selling for 2 years, you know that. But for anybody else that doesn't, I think that 18 units of a single item, and they'll usually send it to the same place. You don't have to split your shipment. But I haven't made a shipment in over 2 years, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think
It's
the
cool.
magic number for typically me was any over like 100 of one unit. It usually will go not of one single unit, but like all in this shipment. You had 100
Yeah.
items. Usually that all goes to one. It's when you have like 30. That's kind of when it gets like screwed up. Question for all three. With the experience you have now, how would you start to scale quickly as a new seller, assuming you have 10K to start with? You go first, Drew.
Well, interesting because I've started like coaching some new people now, like literally brand new. So I'm trying to how do you deal with that kind of situation, which I haven't encountered that obviously since I started. And I think the route I'm telling most people to go down is just do RA, like do lots of RA, do it with go to local places that maybe other people don't have, like use the coupons, use the sign up bonuses. RA, you can get a really quick return on your money, like really, really quick. I think I haven't really talked about that in the past, but the more people I talk to that do it, and I was just talking to a friend that he does like over 150K a month OA, and he had something kind of go wrong recently with a wholesale type of thing. And he said he started going to stores and started doing RA, and he was like, I could definitely see how you could make 5K a month easy doing that. So that would be 50% ROI on your 10K. Like I guarantee you could get that all day. So I would do RA and then take the knowledge that you accumulate from doing lots of RA and just like push it online because it's usually going to be the same type of stuff. You just got to make sure that you're not chasing bolos RA. You're actually developing like little systems like at Ollie's or Dollar General or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a really good point because I feel like that if I've learned anything over the last like 6 months, it's like all these like sites and stores. Once you figure out like the sales system and like how to leverage coupons and like kind of stack them or like kind of take advantage of certain deals and stack a coupon, like that's when like it gets really, really good and lucrative to kind of get all these deals. Yeah, if I had 10K, I probably after talking about that, maybe I would start up a little Facebook marketplace and see what I could turn that into. I honestly think I could get to 50 within like probably 3 months. If that's all I did all day, like I don't see how that wouldn't be like possible at all. Obviously, it depends on your area and like what you had to do. So I think that would be lucrative. But yeah, in terms of Amazon, I think like 10K, it sounds like a lot of money. And like I thought it was until like you start buying stuff and you're like, ooh, wow, that isn't that much money to spend. And like I kind of like the idea of doing RA as well because it's just just easy, probably, because like you could kind of just go to these stores, like you're not going to be spending a lot of money, and you have the chance to like make 50% ROI. And I feel like tanking isn't really an issue. So I mean, I think that would be a good play, and then see what you like. I mean, there are some people who just crush RA.
Yep.
I know it's just like OA sounds great. Like you just set your computer and go to prep. But like sometimes I'm like, damn, like I want to go out. Like I'm kind of tired of sitting here, like kind of deal. So I do think that's kind of like a good play. What else we got here? Drew, thoughts on IP violation, hard copy letters? Isn't the company supposed to go through Amazon to notify the seller?
Funny that little box right there, that is a hard copy IP letters, and I just let them sit around. I've accumulated a book worth of those things, and I have not done shit with any of them. Usually, I think the IP violation, like the hard copy, that usually comes from a company called Voorhees or something like that, and they just go after Amazon sellers to do that. But I've only heard of 2 sellers ever actually get lawsuits filed for that stuff, and those are 2 of the largest OA wholesale sellers on all of Amazon, and they do like over $15 million a piece. So I don't think that you'd have to worry too much. The company is supposed to go through Amazon, but it's probably good that they don't, because then you get hit with an IP violation and you can just throw that mail away, which that's not professional advice, but that's what I've done.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of the same way. I do wonder how much money these companies waste. Like Voorhees is like FedExing overnight, like a slip of computer paper. You're like that's absolutely insane. Yeah, I kind of do the same. I usually just stop selling that brand. Like I'll just sell out of what I have and then just forget about it, and then always delete the listing right after that last one sells.
These companies waste. I don't even think. I'm just starting to think money's just not even real. These companies waste so much money on this stuff. I went through every piece of mail that I've gathered since I started selling on Amazon, and it's a box like huge. I got one of those big Amazon boxes, the biggest ones they send you. It's full, like completely full at the top. And I had somebody go through every single letter, and there was not one that was important. Like I didn't get one letter that I needed to actually respond to. It was all credit card booklets that were like this thick, and then a ton of Voorhees letters. And I'm like, what are these companies doing? Like, and how do they ever expect me to even read this mail? Like my mail will be a stack every time I see it, and none of it is just all promo stuff. Like, I don't know what they think. Maybe people actually sign up for this stuff, but they've had to waste thousands of dollars sending me just shit all the time.
Yeah.
I honestly thought of like a business idea, like for like these places that I know like work with Voorhees or like brands, like figure out the whole brand registry thing and just be like, oh, like this is how you do brand registry, and then like you don't have to pay Voorhees, and then charge them like $5 or $10 grand for that, and then like they know forever.
Yeah.
It just depends, I think, where it's coming from. So like 99% of mine, I've just thrown away. Actually, 100% of them I threw away. And that 1% was the one that I did get an IP for. So it's just, but it did come from blanking. Amazon seller lawyer, CJ. Is that his name? CJ?
Can you say the brand, or you don't want to say the brand?
It was Fanola.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a hair care. It was like shampoo, I think, or something of that nature. But yeah, like I got it and I just threw it away because that's what I normally do. And I was like, oh, they're just bluffing, just throws it away. And then like a week later, I log in and it's like IP. It's like,
yeah, I mean, I think you just have to watch out if they're like send you multiple letters. Like I have one company and they're just like, this is the 3rd notice. I think they got up to 5. And then like I sold out by then. I didn't care and they didn't do anything.
Yeah, I've gotten like 3 letters before, 4 letters. I think it's just all bluffing. By that point, I sold out of it. Like I don't keep selling the stuff. I just sell out and move on. But I think it was a little bit of a bluffing.
Yeah, I do remember the first one being like really scared.
Yeah, well, it seems scary when they send it to you in the mail, especially when you get the certified mail ones.
Yeah. Yeah, all the ones I got, you had to like sign for, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
what did I get? And you're like, oh, it's this Voorhees thing. Like, I heard about these. I guess I don't know.
I just got a paper shredder, so I have a whole bunch of them in my room. I'm just gonna shred them all.
You should do like a live shredding them.
Dude, I bought this really nice one from Amazon. It says it can shred up to 8 papers at a time. I don't trust it though. I put like 3 papers and I was kind of struggling, so.
Oh, that's funny. What did you do to resolve the legit IP complaint?
So for Fanola, it's been hardball. I never did get it off my account, even though we went back and forth with CJ's team, and I never could get that one off. But you get that one before that. I've only gotten 2, knock on wood, because I've been careful. The first one I got was Domino Sugar. It was a listing that it was, you know how like it's not a generic listing, but it's a listing where they like make it to be almost identical to the brand. So like it was like Domino, but like it was like Domino something else instead of like Domino store.
Yeah.
It because my VA went through my VA, and then I slipped up and I missed that one, and then we sent it in, and then finally got the IP. But it was one of those listings, and Amazon Lit was on there with me too. So it's like, oh, we just got smacked. But yeah, we fought back and forth with them for 4 months. They finally took my IP off, and they let us sell through. So I had like 500 bags of sugar, just chilling, waiting for them to let me sell through it. So I'm liquidating it right now. I think I've got like 300 or 200 left.
Wow.
It kind of just depends on the, I guess, like the brand or the whoever's managing the IPs for that company. If they'll let you. So some places will let you sell through. So if you tell them like, hey, I won't sell again, like that's why I said I'm like, I won't sell Domino Sugar again. Don't worry. Like just let me sell through my 500 units, and then I will be off of it, and you'll never see me again. And some of them won't let you at all. They're just like, no, like you have to take the L for it and do with it whatever, sell on Amazon, sell on Walmart, sell it on eBay, give it to your family, whatever.
Yeah, that'd probably be really expensive to remove.
Yeah, they were pretty heavy, and there's 500 of them. I was going to remove some of them from my mom and my grandma because they like to bake and stuff. So I was like, I'll just give you some free bags of sugar.
I've definitely gotten like emails from like the company, like somehow they get like my personal email, and like I'll just respond and be like, oh yeah, I won't sell it again after I sell out. Like I'll just like, and they never write
That's what I'm
back.
saying. Just let us sell through them, and we'll be like, I'm not one of those people who will like sell through it and then try it again. Like, no, I learned it from the first time. Like, if you tell me I can't sell it, I'm not going to sell it again.
I have a topic. I was wondering what you guys think about this, because I see everybody talking about this on Twitter.
God.
The ungating issues that are happening right now. What do you think about that? Because I have a take on this that I haven't really heard anybody say, but I don't want to scare everybody with it either. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
So my take on it is this is just like, oh, I heard someone talk about that like Amazon made ungating really loose during COVID to get a lot of people to get more goods onto Amazon. So they kind of did it on purpose. This is all just theory. And they did that. And they also did it in lieu so more sellers are on the listing that would drive the price down. And Amazon wouldn't have to worry about like the news saying they're price gouging. So that's what I heard. That was like a theory I heard. For me, I just think it's like, I don't know if it's like Twitter. Like, I always think it's like kind of like a farce. Like, everyone's just like there are people from Amazon, like definitely in the Facebook groups, definitely have like Twitter accounts that are just like normal. And I think like they see like some of these people like, oh yeah, I submitted a blank piece of paper, or like I took a picture of my dog or whatever. And then like they kind of like crack down on that. I also think like with all the recent fraud and the whole whatever happened with the wholesale thing or whatever that, maybe they got like a slap on the wrist and that they're like, you know what, we really have to like shut this down and really tighten it up. I don't know. That's kind of my thing. I kind of like it because I think it's going to I don't know, kind of hampered down on like some of like inexperienced people like doing dumb things to listings. But I don't know. That's my take / theory.
Yeah, I agree with the last point. What I think has happened, and like you can kind of reverse this back from like what the root of the problem is now the problem is that before this was going through an automated system to where you could submit a blank invoice and it was automatically approved. Like obviously this wasn't a human being approving this stuff. So they've purposely hired a lot of employees to go through every single case that's ever opened on Amazon. That takes like a lot of human power to do that. And I think that the only reason they would do something like that is if they had pressure from brands. So I think that after the fraud thing happened, and then probably just after the news hits Amazon after certain things, I think there's probably been a lot of brands putting pressure on Amazon. Like, we need to make sure these people are legit if they're selling our stuff. And like Coach just removed their stuff, which always was a brand you could sell on Amazon.
Yeah.
I think that that's going to pick up. And I think it's not a good sign. I think I saw people say, well, this happens every Q4. That's not true. This has never happened. I've been here for 4 Q4s. They've never tightened ungating like this. Like, I think that it
was a glitch because they did do that to like Lego and a couple
people went crazy.
it was literally a glitch. Yeah, everyone got like regated or whatever it was, and then it solved the next day. They've never like purposely, because it's not, they've hired employees to do this. It's manual review. It's not automated. So I don't know. I don't think it's like a great sign. I think people are just, well, it's fine. They don't worry about it. But like, I think that maybe it's pressure from brands, which maybe that's just, I'm interpreting it wrong, but that's what I kind of see that, because I see all these guys. Like, I'm working with the guy right now who's new. He's submitting legit invoices, doing everything possible, adding stuff that I've never added in the past and still getting denied. So it's like, I don't know. That's a little bit, it's a little concerning to me, but maybe I shouldn't be worried, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's all of that. And I think too, it's like, I think it's bad for Amazon. Like, if the news and like are running these reports, they're basically saying Amazon's selling fake goods.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Amazon doesn't want that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it hurts their reputation. Like, they don't want to, worry about that kind of stuff. And then it probably opens them up to get sued too by all these brands because they're like letting counterfeit stuff on the platform.
100%.
I don't know though. Yeah, like I've been like, I haven't really had any problems getting ungated. Like, I did ungate like a couple things recently, and it's been like pretty smooth. I did try to do something with a Walmart invoice, and it's not working. But I'm not like super surprised. It was more just like, is everyone on Twitter correct? So I was like, I'll spend $100 to find out. So I don't know. They're still reviewing it, so we'll see.
The review times are long too, like 10 to 20 days, which is rough as well. But
yeah, like the first time around, it was 5 days, and they rejected it. I just submitted it like 2 days ago, and I haven't heard back. But it was more of an experiment just to see. Like, I think for a lot of this stuff too, like I've been doing this long enough. It's like the best thing to do is like, it's not like, I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, Drew, like, did you like get ungated with Target? He's like, yeah. And then I do it and I don't get ungated. Like, it's just kind of like, you just kind of have to experiment with it because everyone has different account histories. Everyone does different sales volume. Who knows? Maybe Drew got like a happy employee one day and they're just, oh yeah, like go for it. And I got like a Karen and they're like, no. So I do think that's like super interesting though. Like, I think that's just like how it goes. Like, everyone brags about how easy it is to get ungated, and then after that happens, this whole counterfeit thing happens. I was like, like, yeah, maybe we do have to crack down on this.
Yep.
And I think that too, like the Coach thing doesn't only hurt the sellers, like it also hurts Amazon because they're not getting any money now from like Coach products. Let's see.
He said, what are your essential tools?
Drew, what are your essential tools for doing FBA?
I'll run down a full software breakdown. I use Rakuten, Be Frugal, Top Cashback, CNET Shopping, right click search on Amazon, DS, Amazon Quick View, Keepa, Rev Seller, Inventory Lab, Seller, Snap. And that's the only things I use on Amazon.
Yeah.
Full breakdown.
Do you use inventory labs?
Yeah, I use it for just a profit like calculator. Yeah. And I've just had it for so long. I don't want to switch to like seller board or whatever. It's just like, why not just keep it? And it makes it easy. My prep center flow for both the ones I use, it's just easier with inventory lab.
Yeah, I agree. I can't like inventory labs. Yeah, it's just easier. Like my accounting firm actually like goes in there. Like they have like user access and they just like pull reports and like kind of update to QuickBooks and like kind of do all that stuff. Which is just interesting to me. How they're kind of getting that done. But yeah. What other questions you guys have? How are you planning on prepping for Q4?
Yeah, I mean, I keep going back and forth whether I want to push it really big. Maybe I'm just letting like the boogeyman get to me, but the ungating thing does like legitimately scare me. So I don't want to have a bunch of inventory there and like brands get shut down or something. It bothers me a little bit. So I don't know if I'm going to push it super hard. My goal is probably at the beginning of the year, it was do 500K in sales, try to make around 100K profit just for December. But I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I don't know if I have enough. If I'm willing to leverage myself that bad. And also like I did 300K last year, made like 60 grand. I think I can do that again, maybe even a little bit more and not have to leverage myself at all, but we'll see.
Yeah, I've been really thinking about the leverage thing, not just because like, yeah, I don't know. It's like the wild, wild west kind of at this point with like, and yes, like I'm not saying like Amazon's bad or anything like that. Like it's still a great opportunity, but like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how much I want to leverage each month, right? Like, do I want to leverage more than like 50, 60 grand every month? Like, I don't know. It's getting to that point where it's like, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, for Q4, that's kind of what I kind of sat back to school out because I was like, with the whole backpack thing, I was like, I don't want to get stuck with all these backpacks. And like, there were a couple lunchboxes I sold. I got hit with like child safety claims. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna sit this one out and just kind of sell like stuff that's just profitable and just benefit off like the additional traffic for back to school. But I don't know.
Nope.
Do you think there are way more sellers now? Last year, is there a way to know the current numbers of new sellers?
There's more sellers now than there was yesterday, and there will be more sellers tomorrow than there was today. And that will be a forever cycle until it stops. So there are definitely more sellers. There's no way to know it, but I know someone on Twitter posted the data on that a while back because people were saying, I think the competition's getting off Amazon. Not true.
I think it was Steve French.
And it was a crazy graph.
Yeah, I don't know what his it might. I don't know. You say it's Steve French. I don't know if it's like I forgot what his handle is, but yeah, no, I agree. Like it's definitely getting harder. I've also noticed though, like on social media, like a lot of people who were like bragging and doing all this stuff, like I don't think they sell anymore. I think a lot of people come on and then a lot of people go off, just like anything else. Like I would envision it like January gym signups. Like everyone signs up for the gym, and then 3 months in, like there's some people who stick around, but like I don't know, like anything else. There's always more people, but
you got to think too with Andrew Tate and Alex Hormozy growing and big, like the way they've brought a lot of like just people into this online money space in general. So you got to think where these guys like that talk about this e-com stuff, which I'd say those are the two biggest guys. I don't know if anybody else is bigger than them, but obviously like the Amazon is just going to be, we're like a sub niche of what they talk about. So like there's going to obviously be constant people because those people are constantly getting new eyeballs and like telling young guys to start businesses. So I don't think it ever dies down really. I think it only gets bigger, like maybe forever until it just something happens drastic. But I don't think it's a problem. I just think that that's just the reality of any kind of e-com space or any kind of space. They're just always going to grow with people. It's probably not going to decline.
Yeah, I mean that goes for like any business. Like I don't know if like frozen yogurt is like the biggest trend. Like you're gonna see more stores open up, and then like everybody, oh, this is so great, and then like a bunch of them will close, and like the other ones stay open, and then it's off to the next thing. But yeah, no, I do think that's like super interesting. Yeah, always more people come on. But I also think like one of the biggest surges was COVID. I think
Yeah.
people like were basically just like, oh, like I could work remote, have more time. Maybe you lost your job and you're like, you know what? Screw it. Like I'm gonna get this money from the government and like try to give this e-commerce thing a go. And then like it kind of took off and like they surged and it's like, huh, I had to make like $3,000 a month, like and do what I want. So like I'm not going back to my job. So I think that was like a big driver of like the surge too.
100%.
What else we got? Tips on what to look for in an accountant. How does the fee scale work and how active are they with you and your business?
This is such a
Um
subject.
Yeah. So I can only talk to like how mine works. So for me, you want to have someone who obviously understands e-commerce, knows people who work with Amazon. They should be pretty familiar with inventory labs, and kind of like the softwares that kind of go into that. Um, they should, yeah, that would probably be the basis. You want to just kind of ask them a question like, how many Amazon sellers do you work with? Like, ask them the platforms. Like, do you also do eBay? Like, how many credit cards can you guys track up to? All that kind of stuff. You want to get that out of the way. The fee is usually by, from what I understand, it's like how many cards and bank accounts and other things they're tracking for you. So like for me, there's like 8 different cards they track, 2 different bank accounts, like eBay, Amazon. I think there's something else they track. So like that seems to be the average that they say, but I guess if you had like 2 Amazon stores or like it gets different for that. And how active are they? I don't know. They send me financials every month. I would just say it's expensive, but it's really nice to have a clean set of books. And it's just like, hey, this is how much I made, like for real, not just kind of based on like inventory labs. And yeah, and I have the option. I could set up as many calls as I want with them. I just like schedule a call. I just had a call yesterday. And they're like, I just kind of want to be like, hey, I just want to check in for Q4. You know, everything looked good. They're like, yeah, everything looks great. I'm like, cool. So that's kind of how like mine works. But be prepared to spend like anywhere from like $300 to like $500 a month.
It's around. I do around $500 a month, but
I think I'm like right at 400.
my damn accountant needs to call me. I've been trying to get on the phone with him for 2 weeks, and he won't call me. So get somebody that'll call you frequently. But yeah, just make sure they have an open line of communication, and then yeah, you're going to pay a decent amount. We're in a messy business with all this credit cards, like he talked about, a lot of bank accounts, a lot of transactions. It's not fun for an accountant. They remember when I first got on with the accountant I have now, he had to hire somebody to just do my books because I had like not kept up with them. So like for a month, the guy was just going through my shit. So that this is just a messy business. I would do somebody that's experienced in the Amazon space.
Yeah, I will say that when I hired them the first time, I wanted to start like January 1st or whatever. Like, oh, do you want us to do the books for like last year? Make sure everything. And I kind of already did all the work and like did it. I was like, oh, how much would it be? They're like $7,000. I'm like, like because they'd have to reconcile 12 months worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, nah, like we'll start January 1st.
No, I had a not so great experience with accountants. John, do you still use them?
Yeah, I don't have any.
I'm glad John had a good experience. I'm not going to name blast him, but I had an accountant firm working for me, and they were experienced, obviously, in e-commerce. I don't know. Maybe it was just me. Who knows? But at the end of the year last year, well, this goes back to like, I started with them maybe June or July. And up to that point, I had not done any bookkeeping whatsoever. So they had to, go through and reconcile everything and figure out. And then they got me caught up, and I think they were done around September-ish. And we get to that point and they're like, yeah, here's your numbers, whatever. And it was, you know, what I was expecting. And then like a month later, they're like, hey, we're missing like $100,000 worth of inventory. Like, we don't know where it's at. Like, it's showing, you know what I mean? Like, where is it at? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what are you talking about? Like, how does there's like $130,000 worth of inventory just vanished. They couldn't account for it. And I was like, well, I have stuff at, you know, my prep center. I've got stuff here at my house, but not $130,000 worth. Like, there's absolutely no way. And so they're like, okay, like, and they spent a long time. They got like the lead person at the company, and they were trying to figure it out. And they honestly could not give me a reason why. And I was like, okay, well, maybe when we get to the end of the year, we can, you know, things will make more sense. So we got to the end of the year, and she sent me my final P&L, and it was a negative number. And I was like, that's not right. It is because they still couldn't account for the $150,000 worth of stuff. So I freaked out because I'm like, I cannot turn this in because that's not right. So then I hired the one that I use now, and he's like, what in God's green creation happened? And so I had to spend $7,000 for him to fix it for me. And then it came out to the number that I was anticipating it would. And he's like, yeah, they were putting in, I guess they inputted stuff in wrong.
They probably double inputted.
I don't know what happened, but it took him 4 months to fix. And I had to file late. I had to file for an extension, and I finally just paid my taxes like 4 months ago now.
Did you use PayPal a lot?
No.
A lot of times they'll double the PayPal charge and the credit card charge because those both come through. PayPal makes it really difficult, and that sucks for my account because I use PayPal all the time because I'm always promoting that PayPal MasterCard. That's like I try to check out PayPal every single time, so it makes it pretty rough.
Yeah, I remember I tried to set up QuickBooks myself, and it was like inventory was like, not how it's being counted, but it was almost being counted as like profit or something. It was super weird. And then they like, I was like, I need someone to do this for me. So they just basically like set up the whole thing. But I mean, it's definitely worth it if it makes sense for you. But yeah, it's usually pretty pricey.
Yeah. Mine's like, I pay for, so mine's different because I pay for my bookkeeping, and then he gives me tax strategies. So at the end of the year, I don't pay for him like his fee. Like, he'll charge like a percentage of whatever he saves you. So then I don't have to pay for that. So it's cheaper for me to just pay by month, and then he gives me tax strategy, especially now that I'm going into real estate, and there's so many different loopholes for that. So mine's a little bit different. I think I pay $800 a month, but I get bookkeeping and tax strategies in there too.
Wow. Yeah, it just really depends. And like, yeah, having a good accountant definitely can save you money too. Just because it's tricky. And I would say like, don't be afraid to like ask questions and stuff. Like, don't just be like, oh, okay. Like, if like the profit or the loss does not seem right to you, like, be like, hey, I need you to break this down. Like, this is where this happened to me. So we're going to count it, and then I kind of have like a personal person who like just files the taxes. And he's like, does this number seem right? And I was like, no. And then like, I was like, I think this is the number. And he's like, oh, like this is like was counted wrong. Or like, it was just easy. Like once I told him the number, like he was easy to like backtrack and be like, oh, okay, like this is what's going on. Like, let's just fix this. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. It can be like Sal just said, you can do it on your own. Like, I know people who do it on their own. It's just kind of more of a convenience thing for me. And like, I like to do things that I'm good at, and then I outsource the things that I'm not as good at, because I know that last year I saved thousands of dollars on my taxes because I had somebody who actually knew tax code, and I don't know the laws and the regulations and all the loopholes like he does. But like I said, yeah, there are people that do. I know a ton of people actually who do their own bookkeeping.
So I used to do it myself for books, because books is easy. Like, you have like 3 suppliers, and then like it's how much you're just basically like, what checks did I write to these suppliers? Like, what's my expenses? And that's it. But like when you're buying from 30, 40 different vendors, there's returns, like the lost inventory, there's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it can get complicated
anyway.
really fast.
Sal, how much revenue do you do a year?
Boom.
I was just wondering because doing them yourself, that sounds like a difficult task. And if you're doing a lot of revenue too,
Give you props. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not even bashing you, man. Like, I wish I could. I just don't have the patience, the time, even the hour a month. No.
Yeah,
Do it.
for me, that was kind of 200K plus.
Yeah, that's still then you should. I mean, you could definitely do it at that amount. You got to think like you do it. You said an hour a month. Yeah, like there's multiple months where I've done 200K. So I think it gets difficult the more volume. But yeah, you should do it at that. That's good. I would stay consistent with that until you get pretty far because 200. Yeah, unless you're doing 200K plus a month, then if you're doing that, you're just the man. You can do my books. I'll pay you. But
Yeah, true story. Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, I just think it's different for if you're doing more books versus OA. OA, there's just so much more to track, and because you're spending so much more, there's just so many more transactions than just like when I did the books. I literally just had 2 suppliers and I wrote them checks. It was just like, oh, these are for books, like super simple, super clean. Do you guys have any more questions? Drop them in the chat.
how long you been going on these recently?
Probably like yeah.
Are you trying to dip out, Drew?
What? No, I'll talk all day, guys.
Yeah, drop the questions.
No, I like it when it's longer. Anyways, yeah. No,
yeah, same here.
I don't know if you like usually. Cause I remember one time it was like an hour. Like we had 2 hours in this. Come on now.
Oh, the last time Drew was on, we had to cut it short because we had.
Oh yeah, was that the time?
I was like, man, I was cooking on there.
Yeah, we were cruising, and then some guy.
Some people just have to ruin everything that's good. Okay, I can't help that one.
What's one change you've made in your business this like recently that's went well and one that went bad?
Me?
Yeah.
One that went well. I don't know. I'm down a lot this month, so that could be good and bad. Like I'm gonna have the worst month I've had in a long time, but it's because I just haven't bought any inventory. Obviously, I've been like really, really busy with stuff. So like I just haven't had time to source literally. And like last month and kind of the beginning of this month. So I'm just down, but it's just because I didn't spend any money. But I guess that's good and bad because I have a bunch of money going into Q4. Maybe that's a good thing. And it also is a bad thing because I'm probably going to make the least amount of money I've like ever made this month, but whatever.
No, that is good because like one, like yeah, you're gonna have a lot of money going into Q4. 2, like you're doing other things that are making money, so like it's very different. It's not like you couldn't find anything; you're just focusing on different things.
Yeah,
I think that's
last month was the best month I've had all year. So I was like, my inventory lab was like 27K profit last month, which is crazy. I haven't been that high in a long time. So after everything, probably like around 22, 21K net, which is like ridiculous because usually I'm not even close to that. Because my number, I think I did like 175K. So that's a pretty good margin for me. Like, especially after I don't know what happened. I guess I just sold a lot of stuff for a big margin last month, but whatever. If you just divide it out with what I'm going to have this month, it's just price standard.
Yeah, and I think it's almost an important point too. It's like, yeah, you like to go up every month, but like, I feel like sometimes it's almost like we don't treat it as like a business. It's like, oh, it's supposed to go up every month. It's like, no, it's like a business. Like there are up months, there are down months. Like, yeah, you hope you're up every month, but like sometimes like this year for me has been like a total rebuild. And I'm like finally like back on track to like hit those 100K months again. But like I just totally stopped. I'm like, this is not working. Like I don't want to sell apparel anymore. Like, and I just stopped buying stuff and then slowly built it up to different categories, bought a lot of bad stuff, and then kind of just flopped my way through it. And now like it's finally like solidified. And I'm ready to crush Q4. But yeah, that's interesting. Have you done anything, Michaela?
Diversified.
Yeah.
I've been diversifying.
Your change, you set up a Walmart account.
My change is I set up a Walmart account. I bought 2 houses.
Dang.
Yeah. I don't know. Pretty much it. I am sending in my first pallet in a very long time. So to Amazon. People think I don't sell on Amazon anymore because they don't know how to read my post. But I still sell on Amazon. It's not 200K Amazon for right now.
Yeah, I think you're probably the only person I've ever seen that got into Amazon, made money, and then like does other things now. Because I made a post about that, but that was one of my first posts on Instagram. Was about that. Like everyone says they're gonna do that, but no one
They
does.
never do.
Like
I get so many
John have been selling Amazon for so long. Will we ever stop? We might be right here doing these things.
But that's okay though. You know, there's people that are okay with, you know what I mean? And that's fine. Like people will be like, well, why don't you? I'm like, it's because it's not what I wanted. You know what I mean? That's what other people want. And that's what I wanted originally. But then things change. We all change. We evolve. You know what I mean? There's people out there who are going to sell on Amazon for the next 15 years. Yep. And that's what they want to do. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I just hate when people are like, well, you should have kept selling and you should have been doing this, whatever. I'm like, do you like have my finances? Like, are you overhead of my money? Like, should I add you to my LLCs? What?
Yeah, I will say that. That's like the really funny part about like, I don't know if it's cliche, but like all like we were talking about Twitter beef earlier. It's like there's so many ways to like play the game that like there really is no right or wrong unless you're selling like fraudulent goods and like doing shady stuff.
You're buying from like Alibaba and like
that's no good. But like there's just so many different ways, and I think it's also hard. It's just like if I go on Twitter right now, it's like I made $100 doing this. Like if that's my experience, like you can't. That's what I did. Like I know people like flex and stuff, but like for the most part, like you just have to take that's their experience. Like whether you agree with it or not, they're just kind of sharing their journey. And like if you don't like it, like you could mute them.
I thought about this. I think it was somebody's Twitter the other day. This like broke my brain when I heard this. This guy had said that there's only 2 reasons that you make content on the internet, and it's for ego or it's for marketing. So every piece of content you ever see, you have to look at it through that lens or whatever. So like, is this person doing this for their ego or are they doing this for marketing? And I guess it goes the same for like what we're doing here. It's like every single thing you post, because what's the other alternative? Like, are you really just trying to help people? Well, that's probably just your ego. Like, I'm so like virtuous. So I think about that now. Every post I see, I'm like, oh, this person like, which it can be a good intention. Like your ego isn't just bad, but you know, they can be good intention, but still it's like, are they trying to market you something or are they trying to just appease their ego? I think it makes it a little easier to navigate the landmines of the social media.
Yeah, I would agree there.
A few questions.
How regular do you normally ship out to FBA? Is it normal or sporadic? So my prep center does 1 shipment a week for me, but I've actually been doing a shipment a week from my house, trying out a little different strategy, and it's working really well. The stuff I'm doing is like just single label. Like it's really, really quick to do. And I'm really just experimenting, kind of using it to see if I want to use an East Coast prep center. Instead of like getting a prep center is a whole like to do. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna bite the bullet and send in the shipments myself to see if it's really that much different. And it seems to be like it is very different. So yeah, timing's not great because Q4 is right around the corner. But yeah, it's just interesting for me. It's probably one of the biggest changes I made. But like, yeah, all the stuff I'm doing is like really simple to prep. Like I'm not doing bundles or any of that stuff. It's just straight up label. Takes like an hour. I think the other day, like it took me an hour and it was like $2,000 worth of profit. I'm like, you know, $2,000 an hour, not bad.
Yeah, my prep series does it for me. I haven't made a shipment in probably over 1.5 years, 2 years myself. So they just do it pretty sporadic. I think that they do it more than once a week. I think they'll just do it when I get stuff in because I'm shipping over 1,000 units a month. So I think they try to not let it get too backed up.
Because Michaela, she's sporadic.
Michaela doesn't sell on Amazon anymore, apparently. So I don't send any shipments in.
That potato question, that's a good one. That yeah.
I'll let you could answer. Do you think FBA is easiest / simple business? Even a 16 to 7-year-old can do it.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest positive and the biggest negative of FBA is that it requires literally zero skills. So you don't need marketing, you don't need sales, you don't need to create a product. You can literally you're just a glorified shopper. So anyone can do it. I mean, technically like a 13-year-old can do it. I remember when I first started selling on Amazon, I talked to a 14-year-old every day about the products he was buying. So yeah, you can even do it at that age. But the issue is that it just creates more competition. That's the negative about it. But it is the easy. I don't see how there's another easier business to get into because you literally don't need any type of skill at all to do it.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Like, yeah, it's definitely like you're basically just a glorified shopper. Probably the only skill you need is like you just have to be able to like, I guess, analyze like graphs or whatever technically, and like probably cash management or like money management is probably like the biggest things.
Oh, yeah.
But like if you're like, but like you don't need to like the whole money management thing really doesn't come till later on. Like you're not going to be in a cash flow crunch like month one, most likely. So like you kind of grow with it, but like yeah, I agree. It's a crazy business model, and yeah, as it gets more competitive, though, I don't know what that kind of will look like. What do you think, Michaela?
I think it is. I wouldn't say it's like easy, but I mean, there's obviously hurdles to every business. But is it the easiest compared to like brick and mortar stores and like other businesses? I think so. Just because, like you guys said, Amazon presents us with millions and millions of customers. We don't have to market anything. We don't have to do really a whole lot of heavy lifting. We just buy and we sell. It's very yeah, I think so. I think and we do see a lot of younger kids doing Amazon now, especially from like the botters who were selling sneakers and GPUs and consoles and stuff. They were doing that, and now they're transitioning into Amazon. So a lot of those people are younger.
Yep.
What is your all profit margin? Will you take a $1 profit on a product? So that's probably one of the biggest changes I made in my business. I've upped it to like 40% and like $5 profit, and like I'll go down to 30% and like $3. I kind of went with oh yeah, you could do like 20% margin, and like I got murdered on a lot of that stuff. And now I'm really trying to be more. I'm sourcing a much different way now, and just because of like price tanking and stuff like that, and it's working out really well. And I've learned that there is a lot of stuff that's like over 30 to 40%, so I can really just up that. A dollar profit, I don't know. For me, it's a no, just because like there's not enough wiggle room. Like I don't know, if you think you're gonna make $5 on a unit, you're probably gonna make 3, most likely. So like there's no wiggle room for me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that if you're going to go with the $1 profit or even anything under like $2, you just have to consider the returns. If you're doing like grocery, you can technically take like 80 cents profit, but when you're talking about like a shoe, like $1 profit, you're just losing tons of money because when you have to remove a shoe or whatever you get a return, you're getting a set amount of money off. So if you sell a $300 shoe or if you sell a $14 shoe, you lose the same amount of money on a return or a removal. So it makes more sense to do higher like average order value stuff because your fixed fees on returns are the same. So yeah, $1 profit is just too small. I try not to do anything under even 5 to 7. I would prefer over 7, but like he said, usually you try for 7 and you get 5. So I always just assume the worst and try to get the best.
Yeah, it kind of just depends. Since I do wholesale, my ease of purchase is obviously a lot easier than like OA. And I try to stick to the low return category. So like grocery and beauty, healthcare, health, whatever. What is it? Personal health.
Health and household, I think.
Health and household, and there's like personal care and that category. So my returns are pretty low. So if I don't like to take $1. Obviously, I don't think anybody loves to take $1. But sometimes, you have something that's $3 profit and it inevitably goes down and you take $1. But I try to do at least like $2.50. That's like my absolute lowest. And that's for like stuff that I make up for in ROI. So like this is, my smaller items, like wrist and piece, small and light, but like small and light esque types of items. So stuff that has like a $15 buy cost or a $10 buy cost. And there obviously the margins are a little bit different for stuff that's lower. So I'll make, $2 on it, but it's like 40% ROI. And I can turn, 500 units a month or 250 units a month.
Yeah, I think that's the big point in that. It's like if you're gonna buy 10 units and you're
Way
to make $10, like that's not good. Like you'd have to at least be able to move like 100 units to like make it worth it.
Yeah, it's very situational. So it's not, it depends on the category you're selling in, if you're doing OA or wholesale, and the return rate, and how many you're actually buying. Because I wouldn't take a $2.50 profit for something I can only buy 10 units of. I'd rather put it in something else. But like if it's something I can buy 500 units of, that all adds up.
Makes sense. At what point should people consider going from sole proprietor to a corporation? I feel like you should ask your accountant because it's
that's tax advice.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a number where it makes sense. If I'm believe, I think it's between $50,000 and $65,000 profit, but I don't know. Like they said, the accountant.
My accountant.
What do they say?
My accountant told me 70.
Yeah, it's somewhere in that 50 to like 70. Yeah. It's something like that. As soon as you hit that number, then it makes more sense. You're going to save more money doing like an S corp or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't do it too early, and then it's going to cost you more, and then it's going to save. So your tax advisor, your accountant, whatever, can tell you that if it's right for you or not. Don't listen to random strangers on the internet. Make sure you talk to them, because like I talked to, and this varies on the accountant too. Some will say 50, some will say 65, some say 100. So like when I talked to my first CPA that worked with the accounting company that I had the first time, she told me that if I didn't make at least $100,000, that I shouldn't worry about it. And then I went to another person and he told me 70. And I'm like, there's a difference here.
What is it?
So I think some of them have a different kind of idea of what they also think.
Yeah. What other questions do you guys have?
Drew's itching for this thing to go on for 2 hours.
Dude, come on, guys, ask. I was just thinking, I was looking at my orders today, and that guy said, like, do you take $1 profit? And I've sold probably 70 units today at a $2 loss each. I've lost so much money on every one of these. Maybe more than $2 loss, actually, now that I'm looking. It's probably like I'm just liquidating this because I don't want to see him anymore. And ironically, this is just like the whole questions. I keep getting letters from this company, so I'm like, I'm just going to sell through these things. I'm just losing so much money on every one of them. But whatever.
I actually liquidated, like, the item that lost the buy box, and I was taking like it was just stressing me out. And it was Soros. He was just like, sell at a loss. Like it's gonna like lift so much weight off your shoulders. So I'm taking like a $4 or $5 loss. And I think I sold the last one today. And it's just like whatever. Well, and like in the grand scheme of things, it's like, oh, you lost $4 a unit. It's like you lost $400. Like I've made thousands of dollars on this product, like in the past. It sucked that the last 100 had to go at a loss, but like they had to go.
Is it that thing that you had sent me a while ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been ripping through those and lost too. Yeah, I'm the same way. I think Soros is onto something there. I think that you even losing the money, just getting that out of your sight, like out of sight, out of mind, is so important. Like I just talked to a guy that he was having that issue, he had a bunch of dead inventory, and I was like, dude, sell it all. Like take the L's, get the money back, and stop looking at that because it really does weigh on you really bad when you get up and have like 20K or 30K of products. Like it's better to lose 10, 20% than it is to sit on that much dead weight.
Yeah, that thing I sent you, I was just like, I doubled down when it went on. I didn't double down, but like I bought a good amount when it went on sale, and then like the count went from like 30 to like 150, like literally overnight, and it's like,
Yep.
yeah, I took a big loss on that. But like it happens. I mean, it was probably like if I were to do it again, like I probably would, because like it lowered the buy cost so much. But it must have hit a leads list or something, and it's just kind of like just how it goes.
That's 100% what happened. The leads list.
Yeah, and like I would say that. So like one of the big things for me, like lately, I downloaded all my inventory that I bought, like the profit loss, all the ASINs, and went through and looked at like how many I bought that like sold at a loss. And I went back to the Kiva charts and like looked at when I bought it, and I was like, I would have did this again. This was stupid. Like you should have done that. Like I just knew exactly because I like track like, oh, like this person sent me a lead, or you know, I'm testing this or whatever it is. And like, it was pretty much like, nah, you just made some dumb decisions. Like, you just got like too excited or whatever. And it's like, whatever, don't worry about it. Just move on.
Yep, part of the game.
Yeah, I lost my hind end on this one ASIN, and I lost like $6,000 on it.
Yeah, that's brutal.
It was very rough. It was, and I have some at my house right now, and I just want to throw them away. Like,
it weighs on you bad. It's better.
It does, because there was like a couple of these, and I was just like, I don't care. Like, it just needs to go. Like, because this is like really pissing me off. Like, because I'll sort like sometimes in Seller Central by like how many I have. I'm just like, it has to go. Like it's just
I'll look at that and I'm like, how did I end up with that many? Like when did I make that decision?
Well, it can get tricky too, because like if you're doing it on like Seller Central, one of the best ways to do it is like if you go to Inventory Labs and you click on your inventory and put that ASIN in, because that tracks how many you have. Like in Seller Central, say you have like 0, but if you click on the drop down, it's like, oh, you have 30 in transit. So I'm like, oh yeah, I need more of this. And then it's like, how did I end up with 60 units? And it's like, oh, like they're in transit or whatever.
Yep.
So I've definitely got like that. But like, yeah, those losers definitely weigh on you. And like when you really break it down, like some of this stuff, like if you have 10 units, you're gonna take a $5 loss on each, like you're gonna lose $50. Like not what we're trying to do here, but like it's not the end of the world either. And that money can be better spent. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, everyone always says, oh, it's definitely going to come back. You don't know when, though. Like, this thing that I doubled down on, like, that thing's not coming back till, like, maybe next year. Yeah, and we don't even know if it's going to come back next year.
Isn't it called, like, opportunity cost or something?
Sunk cost fallacy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, it's over. Like, just move on. And, like, I feel so much better. Like, I, like, sorted. I'm like, it's not there anymore. Like, it's got... I mean, I'll probably be pissed, like, when some get returned. But, like, it's still, in my mind, it's over. In grocery, beauty, wholesale, I find huge mega sellers to be worse at price tanking than new sellers. Have you seen that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, grocery can be pretty competitive because a lot of wholesalers love to sell groceries. So, yeah, it can get brutal.
Well, these this is a realization I've kind of came to in the last like few months. I didn't know this really. With the wholesale stuff is literally a different business than the OA stuff. Like it's not the same even business model. Like people think it's like really easy to transition. It's like literally a different business. Like because a lot of these big wholesale sellers are playing with massive like debt. Like they have a real company, like employees, all this type of stuff. Like if you watch Amazon Lit's content and then you watch like something from me, like we're not even talking about the same business. It's a whole different business model. So when it comes to that stuff, you're playing just in a different ball game on a lot of those, and a lot of these companies will just take losses. Like there's what's the PharmaPacks one was just losing money on everything. It's like that company wasn't even making any money. So you got to think about these wholesale companies. Some of them just don't even make money. It's just like a lot of other companies. They just take on a bunch of debt. They get investors. They're just hoping that it goes well someday, but it just goes belly up a lot of the time. Yeah, so it's tough, especially the grocery beauty stuff. That's a really competitive niche, and it's low cost and high volume, obviously. So yeah, I didn't know that. I don't want to like shit on wholesale, but that deters me a bit just because I didn't know that these companies really operated like that, and a lot of them do. Like a lot of companies run on massive debt and just try to get investors, and it's not the same as you just like selling stuff out of your apartment.
Yeah, no, I agree. I remember watching like an Amazon Lit video, and like he's like, a couple pennies to you, no big deal. A couple pennies times a million, big deal. I'm like, yeah,
It is.
like yeah, that's like big money. Like every month, that's like probably 10 grand a month or whatever. I was just like, shit. Like, yeah, I don't think about that. And like, I also think too, it's like, I don't know, maybe wholesale is the next best thing, but like, it's not something I'm trying to explore at this point.
It's just different.
Agreed. Have any of you guys done a video on Keep a Product Finder? If not, any recommendations for filters for a new seller having trouble sourcing a lot of the leads due to wholesalers owning the buy box? I don't think I have a video on Keep a Product Finder. I should probably make one.
Yeah, I wish that is my most knowledgeable resource out of this whole business. I think I'm a pretty big expert in that kind of stuff, but unfortunately I don't talk about it because that's what I mainly teach my like coaching people. I feel like it's really just not fair for me to like go out and talk about it. So I wish I could give you some insight there. I might make a private YouTube video soon. So if you follow me on Instagram, I'll post it on there, and I'm going to break down a little bit on there, but it won't be, too much because I just feel like it's not fair if I just give up what I've told them. They paid for it. So yeah, but it is a very big resource, obviously. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're having trouble sourcing, well, in terms of wholesalers, like I would try to stay like, well, I don't like the apparel category, but there are definitely some things that just can't be wholesaled. So I would kind of look at those kind of like these smaller beauty sites, and other stuff like that, where you're not going to run into that issue. And like a lot of the times, I will say, if you're looking at listings and like the sellers on that listing have like thousands of reviews, those are probably wholesalers. Like you want to be looking for seller counts that are in like, let's just call it 20 to like 200 or 300. Those are probably like OA sellers, and you'll just know right away what those are. But yeah, I mean, Keep a Product Finder is like great. But yeah, there's a ton of videos on YouTube that you could kind of look up. But you probably, I mean, this Soros said this on our conversation. He was like, you know what? Like, you should just go simple and just go manual. Go to a website every day, like, get Seller Amp, and then just go category by category and just show up every day, find a sale, and just go manual, and you'll probably find some stuff. Because I can tell you right now, no one's doing that.
Yep.
Everyone says they're manual sourcing. They're not. They're doing other stuff, just kind of replenishing stuff. But if you're really going to go, like, every single thing look up, like, you're going to find some good stuff that, like, a lot of people aren't.
I think a lot of the times I have to give Soros some credit here because a lot of the people, when they get on these podcasts or lives or whatever, they don't exactly tell the full story. But when Soros says that, I know that he literally does that because there's a guy that I've been talking to for a few months, like helping him out and stuff. And he is on tons of listings that Soros is on, like they sell tons of stuff together. And he was like, this is what I do is just manually source every website every day, like these certain sites. And that's like how he does it. And I'm like, I know that's what Soros is having his VAs do, is just manual sourcing every single day, buying whatever's left on these sales. Like he's actually telling the truth when he says that. That's literally how he runs $10 million a year, whatever he does. Just manual sourcing certain sites every single day. I'm sure it's just it's the consistency of looking. Because if you look at these sales on websites and you're looking at the same one every single day, it can get monotonous, but there's going to be new stuff added. And if you're there every day to get that sale, it's just huge. So that is literally what he does. And I think that is really, really good advice. That's kind of the advice I give to a lot of beginners now too. It's a headache and it sucks, but if you get good at it, your time goes down every time. It might take you 4 hours the first time, but the next day it only takes you a few more hours because there's not that much new stuff getting added on a lot of these websites.
And two, you eliminate that's literally been like my strategy lately. Nothing is tanking. Like it's all manual. I got rid of my VA. I'm like, I'm gonna just do this, and then if I decide to get a VA, like I'm just gonna literally document sourcing 30 days in a row. This is exactly what I did. I'm just going to these sites and looking manually, and it gets so much easier because it's like, you see this one brand, and you're like, oh, Amazon is the seller on it. So now you don't have to look at that brand because pretty much everything that brand Amazon sells. Yeah, there are some outliers, but for the most part, they're going to be on every listing, or the brand sells it. So I'm not going to compete against them. If there's a listing the brand's not on, it's probably a generic listing. I'm just going to stay away from that. And then you just get quicker because you just don't have to go through that stuff. But that's the crappy answer no one wants to hear. But going to websites every day, you're just going to notice stuff. Some things are going to look. It's oh, I've been here. It's whoa, wait a second. What is that? Oh my God, there's a promo code at the top of the website. They don't always email the sales out. Usually there's a promo code on the site before they even email it or text it or whatever.
And it actually sounds like that's harder. It's well, there has to be some trick. That's the hard route. I promise if you just focused on 3 websites, I'll just give them to you. Just do Kohl's.com, Target.com, and Walmart and pick a certain category and just look through those 3 every single day, or a certain brand on each website. That is easier. Literally, I just gave you your homework. Just if anybody does that and you're struggling to find products, if you just do that, you will find profitable shit that no one else is finding 100%. But it just, that makes it simple. It's actually easier than trying to find a bunch of different stuff. Sometimes taking a step back and doing the easy stuff or the hard stuff is actually easier than you trying to do a bunch of complicated stuff.
Yeah, it just really comes down to the fundamentals. And I used to say to myself, if you're on Walmart, you're how could you say there's not a single profitable item? It's there's not. There's 50 million items on there. There has to be at least one. You just need to find it. And then usually it's just finding that one brand, because then once you find a brand that's profitable, there's some other stuff that's probably profitable within that brand. And then it's just kind of building the catalog. I'd be interested to see how much you're sourcing. My new recommendation is 2 hours twice a day, at least. 2-hour sessions, not a half hour here, more preferably, but at least 2 hours twice a day. If you're not doing that, then you're not going to find anything.
Yep. So, Mr. Potato with the kind words.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of values packed in today's show. I love to watch it again. Thank you all. Thanks for being here.
Potato.
Content for Walmart is on Helium 10 channel.
It's so refreshing to be on these lives because I don't want to go into detail about this at all, but I went viral on the internet in a few places this last month or so. And it is crazy how mean and delusional people are on the other sides of the internet. But when you're in this Amazon community, although we talk about beef and all this stuff, it is relatively positive. And you guys know that we're making money selling Amazon. You guys were making money selling on Amazon. It's just funny because a lot of the internet literally has no clue. They think we're lying, you guys are lying, we're all just delusional, when in reality it's completely the opposite. So every time I see a positive comment now, I'm like, you're doing well in life. If you can comment positively on somebody's stuff, you're on a good path. Because there's people that get on the internet and comment negatively. It's crazy. Like, how sad does your life have to be to do that? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you there. Because, yeah, I think, like, almost, like, doing that stuff, it's, like, you almost, like, have to, like, talk to someone. Like, there's, like, people, like, we text, like, I don't know, maybe every other day or whatever. Like, you just need to, like, stay in touch with people because, like, it can get, like, super lonely just, like, looking at stuff on your computer or just, like, being helpful or whatever. And, yeah, the people who, like, shit on others are probably the people that are not doing anything anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's I heard a good quote recently. Hurt people hurt people. That's what those internet haters are.
That is, yeah, that's 100% the truth. And yeah, like I think like too, like the Twitter beef stuff, like I think it's more funny and like
Yeah.
AKA people are doing it for engagement. Like they're making mistakes on purpose. They're saying stuff they know is gonna trigger responses. And while everyone else is getting outraged, they're just laughing as their follower count grows.
Yeah, if you start looking at it,
They're like, you dummies, like keep going. Like just keep talking about it.
if you look at it in that light, it all is more fun, and it's like you should be involved in it. Because I thought about all the times I'd have influxes in followers, and I didn't even really do it to get followers, but I would just call somebody out or say something, and it would just grow my following. I'm like, man, it looks like I'm just like a dickhead on here, but that's not the case. It's just I'm trying to point stuff out, but in reality, if you're trying to grow stuff, like either provide lots of value or start lots of controversy. That's like the two ways you do it. Education or entertainment. So either way you want to go about it.
Did you see the one where the person broke down like a guru's YouTube?
And he got crap on that too.
Yeah. You're definitely muted. I'll tell you who it is after.
Okay.
You definitely muted them.
Oh,
You see, I posted my 100 muted list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it got like so much like interaction. It was like crazy how much it got.
Do you think I definitely have him muted?
Oh, I'd say so. Yeah.
Oh, well, interesting. I'm interested here.
Yeah,
I'm not on Twitter much anymore either, where I'm doing all this other stuff. Like Twitter is just like the last. And I kind of only get on there to see people not Amazon related because I like the other money Twitter guys. Like at this point in my life, I like the guys that are making $200,000 a month profit and that kind of stuff. I'm trying to see what those guys are doing with their business and what kind of ventures, what are they looking at? Because that's really interesting to me. Because the Amazon stuff, it's like there's only so far you can kind of take it once you grasp as much knowledge as out there, you know.
Agreed. All right, you guys don't have any questions? We're like an hour 45 in, which is awesome.
Cool.
Where can people find you?
DrewFBA on Twitter and Instagram. More active on Instagram these days, so you can message me there. My DMs used to be full of people, and they're not anymore. So I will get back to you super quick if you message me on Instagram if you have any questions at all.
Cool. Thanks for being here. We will see you guys next week, and have a good weekend.
Appreciate you guys having me.